Okay, here we are making macaroni salad. So I have my elbow macaroni that has been cooked to al dente about. I've rinsed it off with cool water, so this is now cool macaroni. This is 1 pound of macaroni. I'm gonna put part of that in there because that will allow me space to mix all of the ingredients that will go in here. Make sure it's loose and not a lot of water. So I let that drain for about 5 minutes to make sure all of the water is off. And so the first thing, I'm serving spoon first. But first thing we're gonna use is mayonnaise. The ingredients that will go into this macaroni salad will be mayonnaise, mustard, sweet relish, salt, pepper, 2 to 3 chopped up hard-boiled eggs, 3 cans of albacore tuna, solid white in water. Make sure you do not get tuna in oil. I also have 2 packets of my Sazon seasoning, and secret ingredient for me, Recaito, made by Goya. There will be about 3 tablespoons of that. That's what goes into my macaroni salad. So the first thing I'm going to do is get my Hellmann's mayonnaise. Now, the Hellmann's mayonnaise, I am only doing this because a lot of people need measurements. I don't do measurements. I do consistency, and this is really a recipe I go for from memory. So I am assuming this is about 3 tablespoons is what I start with of mayonnaise. I have a teaspoon here, so that's why you see me doing 2 of both. But I'm going to start with that first. And again, I do this by consistency so that I start mixing. And that's what tells me if I need more items in here. So first the mayonnaise. I also forgot to mention that I never cook without green peppers and onions either. And so that's going to be another thing that I add to this. Green peppers and onions. This is about a half of a green pepper and a whole onion chopped up. This entire thing will not go in there. So this is maybe a quarter of it, a little over a quarter of what I've chopped. Because you don't need this entire thing. I've used my Easy Pro chopper. Some of you know from previous videos that I swear by this. I use this to chop my vegetables, so you see how chopped they are, right? Of course, I'm falling apart here. But you see how finely chopped my veggies are, and that's what I got from that Veggie Pro. So a lot of people that I cook for don't like large chunks of green peppers and onions. I don't either very much in my food. So this finely chops them to make sure that you will not have huge chunks of those in your macaroni salad, right? And so I'm going to mix that. Next thing, that's the amount of mayonnaise I want for this. I probably will put a little more because I have a little bit more macaroni. So this is my yellow mustard. Yellow mustard goes a long way in any of your recipes, so you only need about a teaspoon or 2 of yellow mustard. Again, I know my measurements, so I know as I squeeze out the mustard how much a teaspoon is, even though I'm putting this in a serving spoon. So if you cook a lot, you just know what measurements are. And so that was about that was about 2 teaspoons of mustard. You see, it's enough mustard to start turning some of the pieces yellow. But again, I'm going to stress that's not a lot of mustard because I have a little bit more macaroni that's going to go in here. And I won't put any more mustard in there. And so the next thing I'm going to do is my relish. So here's relish. Now a lot of relish goes in here. 1 teaspoon, 2 teaspoons, 3 teaspoons, 4 teaspoons. And that's what I'm going to start with. But you see, I put heaping piles of relish in there. But relish makes the macaroni salad pop. That pickling again. See, I'm mixing everything as I go so that you begin to see the greenish. You saw the yellowish, now you see the greenish. Next, this is my finely chopped egg, and I'll show you in this video how I chop this. I use the back of a fork with 2 to 3 hard-boiled eggs. It depends on like how much macaroni you have. This can be done without eggs. I know plenty of people who don't eat eggs, and so this is not strictly necessary, but it is how I make and how my mom taught me how to make macaroni salad. So I do put eggs in my macaroni salad. But again, if you have a crowd that doesn't do eggs, which is not abnormal, you can leave the eggs out. I have a cousin who doesn't eat green peppers and onions. Sometimes I make it and leave the green peppers and onions out as well. I do think that you notice something is missing when you leave out the green peppers and onions. So I'm going to put a dash of salt there first. Just a little bit. A dash of pepper first. Sprinkle it on top. Where is my... I do put seasoning salt in here as well. And so a dash of seasoning salt. Mix that again. And now I'm going to start to mix some of my tuna in here, because the tuna is very dry, right? And as you mix it in, that's when you will really get the feeling that you need some of your mayo. I'm going to leave a little bit of that out because there's a lot in this bowl right now. I make complete bowls of food, right? When I'm going to serve this at my church, so I make enough food so that they see this is action-packed. So whenever I'm taking, excuse me, food to it, that's the black, that's the black pepper that got me sneezing. But whenever I take food, I like to make sure people know that I try to bring as much as possible. All of my bowls and pans will be packed full. See how that tuna dries it up a little bit? Now I'm going to put the rest of my macaroni salad in there. Again, some of this macaroni salad is coming out. It won't be served in this bowl also because I will take some out for my boo. I can't take things too. So I'm going to put another tablespoon or 2 of mayonnaise in here because the tuna and extra pasta have dried it out. So you see, I'm going to start to mix. That new macaroni is going to go down in the bottom as I mix in some more mayo. And you see how this will come together. There's one more thing I need to add, and I'll do that in a minute. Just as soon as I get some of that macaroni and mayonnaise back down into the bottom. Right? This probably will need a dash more mayo. But again, as I mix in more stuff, I'll show you how I plan to do that, right? We're almost to the last ingredient that goes in here. It is 2 packets of Sazon. Now, I have 2 flavors of Sazon. One is the yellow and one is the sort of orange packet. You could use both the orange packets, but I like the yellow. The yellow has a little bit more color. And so I also don't like white foods and I don't like black foods. I mean the color white, not like race white. So I don't even like to serve white food. I make white when I don't even make white rice. I make brown rice. But when I make it, I put garlic in it to change the color to off-white a little bit. although brown rice is already off white. But sometimes I have an occasion to make white rice. I will do something to change the color to like a off whitish. I do not think bright white should be a food. So so you see, as I mix this up, and it changes the color of the macaroni salad. And so this will change to like a yellowy color. I think that makes for a pretty macaroni salad also, because that white really drives me nuts. But I still have a little bit of tuna to put in here as well, which is why so much flavor. I didn't put that whole packet, that second packet of Sazon in there, because once I start mixing and get the color, the full color that I need and that I know I want, I know that the food is seasoned all the way through. When every bit of macaroni has a bit of the color on there, I know it also has the seasoning on there. And you have to be careful with Sazon because it can be very salty. This is a lot of macaroni, so it's not going to be very salty. And I only added a dash of seasoning salt in here, so I will put some more black pepper in here, a dash of mayonnaise because this is thickening up. And I want this to be a little bit more loose. Also, this will go in the refrigerator, and so it will stiffen up as it gets cooler and cold in the refrigerator. So I know even now how I'm mixing it that I want this to be a little looser so that it has room to stiffen up and you're not eating a dry macaroni, right? So you see, that's just a tad. I know what I'm looking at. I know what I'm going for. And I'm mixing that in. Again, I also want to make sure the tuna is throughout so that whenever somebody gets a forkful, they should be eating bits of tuna and pasta on every forkful if they want. Like, some people will pick out parts that they want, and that's fine. But this is a tuna-based macaroni salad, and so I want people to have the ability to have every bit of the tuna and the pasta. It's what makes the macaroni salad. And so you'll see this pretty macaroni salad that I have here, nice and yellow and golden. And this is my recipe for macaroni salad.